Sairam all of you. So we continue our discussion, our memories about Sri Sathya Sai Baba, our beloved Swami. As I told you in my previous videos, and most probably you know that I was lucky enough in 90s to be Swami's translator for the Russian-speaking groups, and I was not only the one who was doing this very interesting and wonderful service, which is of course gave me a lot of advantage to get a lot of interviews. And so I wrote and published 3 books. At the moment they are only in Russian language, but I am planning to translate and publish them in English as well, with my memories about all that interviews and personal experiences with Sathya Sai Baba. And today, of course, I'm going to continue to share with my sweet memories. Well, in my previous video, I shared with my memories how it was that Sathya Sai could materialize different rings, japamalas, just different objects. How first from his hand divine light could appear, or sometimes it was electrical type of sound, and then only different objects like a ring, different statures of Ganesh or any other Hindu god could appear from his hand. And that was a special way to materialize objects, especially in his interview room. Okay, today I want to share with not just my memories, but with my ideas about so-called materialization. Not so many Sai devotees actually trying to think and analyze actually what is that materialization, and what kind of, if we can say, materialization can be. What is the extremely interesting fact that Sathya Sai himself, well, listen carefully, never told that actually he is materializing all that objects, I mean rings, japamalas, etc. He never told, let me repeat again, that he materialized anything. He just created, okay, let us say ring, give it to the person, to the devotee, and then, very interesting again, actually fact, we are the people, we devotees created this idea that all that objects are actually materialization. But according to my understanding, according to my opinion, and let me repeat again and again, this is just my opinion, some of that objects are really materializations, and some of them so-called teleportation. Okay, let me repeat 1,000 times that what I'm saying right now is just my opinion, and do not take it as absolute truth. Of course, it's just my opinion. Anyway, I saw huge number of all that so-called created by Swami rings, small idols, lingams, japamalas, etc. And just my opinion is that really some of that objects are real materialization, which is by itself absolutely huge miracle. Just imagine that something never existed in the world, in the cosmos, and then from the consciousness of supreme divine incarnation, it's appearing just in front of you. It's a huge miracle. But at the same time, I myself personally suppose that most of the rings, lingams, statues and rosaries, what we call in Sanskrit japamalas, actually teleportation. And again, the miracle of teleportation can be of several kinds. Okay, first kind of teleportation is teleportation in space. What is the meaning of this? It means, let us suppose, next room, or maybe next building, or by the way, maybe next, town, city, or even in another country, there is a certain object. It can be watch, it can be, a ring, or whatever. And through the power of course, divine supernatural ability, Sathya Sai dematerialize this object there. It can be next room, next building, next town, whatever. And then through the subtle plan, this object appear in his hands, and then he is gave it as the gift to the devotee. Okay, this is the first type of teleportation. The second kind of teleportation is multiplication. It means, just again, let us imagine that the next room or next building there is an object. Again, it can be ring, japamala, whatever. And then through the, with the help, with the power of his supernatural ability, power, Swami could create in a subtle plan just a replica of that ring, which is basically staying peacefully in the next building or in the next room. And this replica appear in his hands, and then again a happy devotee receiving this gift. Well, when we see a huge number of rings, like silver rings with the picture of Sathya Sai Baba, or rings with the pranava mantra Om symbol. Actually, there are many similar rings. Basically, if we take 90s, I think it was a kind of 10 major types of the rings which Sathya Sai could materialize. And again, we are devotees who are created this idea of materialization, but really, most probably, it was just teleportation with multiplication. Okay, and then third kind of teleportation, which is absolutely amazing, and that is teleportation in time. And it means Swami could take certain objects from the past, maybe 100 years back, 1,000 years back, a few thousands years back. So he could take certain object from from past, and then create it. Teleportation from the past means he took it from the very ancient time and then gave it in a present moment to the devotee. And by the way, I was lucky enough to get 2 rings from my own past lives. So it means when Swami gave me these 2 rings, actually he told that this is from my past incarnations. Okay, some of you may think that I'm trying to diminishing the meaning of that huge gifts from Swami, but I am not trying to diminish the meaning, the greatness of all that rings, lingams, japamalas, or whatever object Swami could materialize to the devotees. Just I'm trying to analyze, and I'm really sorry if I'm disturbing somebody by my ideas, but I think that it's nothing bad if we're trying to to understand a little bit deeper. So let us come back to these two rings which I received from Swami years back, and actually he told that both of the rings belonged to me in my past incarnations. And actually, I don't know, honestly speaking, maybe these two rings from the different past lives, maybe from the same. But let me tell you some stories about that rings. First of all, when I received this huge gift, this huge grace from Swami, what's happened? First 6 months it was impossible for me to wear these two rings, like whole day, whole time, and actually it was possible for me to wear these rings maybe just couple of hours, sometimes even 1 hour a day. So powerful was all the divine vibrations and energy which I was easily was able to experience. And after 6 months, well, it became much easier for me, and I started to wear them all the time. So let me repeat again and again. When I'm actually, who knows, maybe out of my ignorance, trying to understand, and let especially Indian devotees forgive me, because we're the Westerners always trying to analyze and understand, so really forgive me, please. But anyway, my point is that even if I try to understand, okay, this is materialization, this is teleportation in space, this is teleportation which is multiplication, this is teleportation in time. When I'm trying to understand, I'm not diminishing the meaning, the greatness of all these objects, because for me all that rings, all that lingams and rosaries, actually expression of Swami's love and compassion, and actually this is like really not materialization of the objects, but materialization of the grace. And one more very painful and difficult question. Okay, what is or what are that materials from which all that, especially rings, actually created? And mostly we speak, mostly we say that it is gold and silver, or that is gold or silver, of course. But that traditionally sometimes all that special rings traditionally can be made out of 5 metals. And why I'm mentioning about this, actually my idea is to destroy all taboos, to destroy all all that situations when we as the devotees afraid to ask certain questions or to discuss certain topics. And actually, well, let us be honest, quite many devotees after receiving these gifts from Swami could go to the jewelry expert and ask, okay, tell me what can you say about this ring? I mean, how much it is, and what about precious stones and metal? And jewelry expert could easily sometimes say, ah, come on, guy, that's just not really good quality stone, or can be even glass, etc., etc. And then people got disappointment, and it's extremely stupid, because the meaning of that gift is a totally different one. Of course, it is absolutely obvious that the meaning of that wonderful gifts from Swami, the meaning is not financial one, and sometimes that's okay. Let us openly discuss this question as well. Approach these rings given by Swami as something extremely expensive, diamonds or any precious stones, etc. But really speaking, it's stupid and ignorant, because the meaning is not financial price of this objects, which are, by the way, absolutely outside of price, because it's given by Lord God himself. But I mean to say, the meaning is a grace, blessing, like personal, mystical and spiritual information, which is exactly in this maybe ring or rosary or lingam, which is given by Swami. So the importance is not financial price, and of course I'm sure you understand it, but just I'm mentioning about all that confusions actually. But the meaning is grace and the personal blessing. Guys, I'm really wish to share with my own personal thoughts and feeling absolutely openly, and I don't want to hide anything. When Swami gave me 2 rings, which he gave to me, and I was absolutely indifferent to the financial and material price, because for me it was absolutely obvious that the power of that rings are not in financial price, but it's a love and grace from the Lord. But it so happened that I met one expert in Moscow, and then 2 experts in India by chance, just I didn't go there specially, and so they they just looked at that rings, and they told that okay, that's not really expensive one, and that's really 5 metals, and really nice stones, but not really good and expensive. And for me it was not disappointment, because the spiritual and divine power of that vibrations, which I feel 24 hours a day, because I have these 2 rings. The power is so huge that to speak about price for the stones is just impossible for me. And let me say, I don't know what kind of life I spent, like previous lifetimes. Maybe I was this or that person. I hope a good one. I hope that I was practicing different kind of meditation, yoga and mantras, and at that time in my previous lives, that was my rings. And that rings, they have their own story, their own information about my own personal spiritual quests, realizations, experiences, and I'm happy to have to use through Swami's grace these rings in this lifetime as well. And it's really, I really feel personal Swami's grace and a huge, good qualities from my past lives come back to me, and I'm very happy about it. So I complete this video for today. Sairam, see you tomorrow.